Welcome to the North Clackamas regular school board meeting for this evening, Thursday, June 23rd. We'll start out with the native land acknowledgement by Director Perez.
We acknowledge the land on which we sit and which we call the North Clackamas School District rest on the traditional and indigenous lands and village sites of the native peoples of the Kalapuya, Chinook, Molalla, and the Clackamas. We take this opportunity to offer gratitude for the ability to learn, work, and be a community on this land. And we offer thanks to the original caretakers of this region. We recognize the historic policies of colonization, genocide, relocation, and assimilation that affected indigenous and native families both past and present, and that will affect those in the future, and honor the resilience and revitalization of our indigenous and native communities. We pay our respects to the elders, both past and present, who have been the stewards of this land throughout the generations.
Thank you, Director Perez. Director Benaloga, would you lead us in the flag salute?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Director Benaloga. Next, we have minutes. I wanted to let you know, let's see, Director McVeigh is at a work event. He may be able to join us. Director Schradel is online, I believe.
I am here. Can I also see that Tori Stone's online?
Okay, great. Okay, so the first item of business is minutes from June 9th, 2022. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes from June 9th.
Second.
Here, Mitzi, it's
Oh, pardon? Oh, okay, Director McVeigh is also on. Great, okay. Any discussion on the minutes? Let's do a roll call just so I can be sure and get everybody's vote. Director Schradel?
Just want to confirm, did you already get a motion?
Yeah, we made a motion and there was a second. Motion was by Director Perez, second was by Director Way.
Thank you for
So
clarifying.
any
that.
discussion? I guess you didn't hear that.
No discussion for me. I voted in the affirmative.
Okay. Director McVeigh? Oh, we did. Okay, let's move on then. Director Perez?
Aye.
Director Way?
Aye.
Director Benaloga?
Aye.
And myself as an aye. Thank you. Next, moving right on to consent agenda, which includes, let's see, 4 items. Employment changes, exempt administrator contracts for 2022-23, non-licensed administrator continuation of contract 2022-23, and 2022-23 alternative placements. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the consent agenda, including employment changes, exempt administrator contracts 2022-2023, non-licensed administrator continuation of contract 2022-2023, and 2022-2023 alternative placements.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Wait, second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, let's go through roll call again, just because that's, oh, okay. Let's do online then first. Director Schradel,
Aye.
Director McVeigh,
aye.
Director Benaloga,
Aye.
Director Way,
Aye.
Director Perez,
Aye.
myself as aye. Thank you, board. Okay, next is community events, or not community, input. Comments, I'll get it right. Thank you for your patience. As always, this is not a discussion time. This is time for us to listen. And most of you have heard this, but bear with me. Any individual desiring to speak may indicate their desire by submitting their name, city of residence, either email address or phone number, and the group, if any, that is represented on the sign-in sheet or online form prior to the board meeting. A speaker should give their name, city of residence, and the group, if any, that is represented, and will limit their presentation to 3 minutes. If there are more patrons desiring to present comments than time allowed, the board chair has authority to reduce the presentation time for the individual speakers or institute a prioritization process with attention to order of sign up and city of residence. Speakers may offer objective criticism of district operations and programs that are of concern to them. The board is restricted from hearing and will not consider complaints regarding any individual district staff member or any person connected with the district. As an organization centered around youth and their positive development, all speakers will model respectful public comment and be mindful of civil discourse. The board vests in its chair or other presiding officer authority to terminate the remarks of any individual when those remarks do not adhere to the rules established in this policy. So we don't have anyone online that signed up. Okay. Looks like we have 2 speakers tonight. First, Angie Bartlett. Would you come forward? Pardon? No. And then just state your name and your city of residence, and that time will begin after that.
Okay. Hi, my name's Angie Bartlett, Damascus. I'm here again in response to the FOIAs that we presented to you last board meeting. Libra denied taking it, and you guys did receive your FOIAs, but we have not heard back from any of you in that. So we have some statements to make. I wish to inform each and every board member of the entire North Clackamas County School Board that all of us parents are in shock by Corinza Mock's email response on June 14th, 2022, stating that the North Clackamas School District is in receipt of your public records request dated June 8th, 2022. Given the 51 individual requests within your single public records request at this time, North Clackamas School District is uncertain whether North Clackamas is the custodian of the requested records, and North Clackamas School District is reviewing the materials. North Clackamas School District should have a response to you by next week. Our lawyer, Lewis Ewing, was informed of the fraudulent statement that at this time, the North Clackamas School District is uncertain whether North Clackamas School District is the custodian of the records request. Clearly demonstrates the culpability of each and every school board member, enough for us to file a crime report requesting that the North Clackamas County, that each and every school board member, enough for us to file a crime report requesting that the North Clackamas County Sheriff to investigate a formal request to the North Clackamas County District Attorney to prosecute each and every North Clackamas County school board member for violating ORS 163693, failure to report child pornography, and for the felony of possession of child pornography containing numerous pictures of minors engaging in sexually explicit conduct in direct violation of Oregon law as codified ORS 163688, ORS 163689. Corinza Mock, J. Mock lied, and all of you are feigning ignorance that this is not, and that is not going to work with the Clackamas County Sheriff and the county prosecutor or federal law enforcement. Once they see a copy of your frivolous response.
I seem to be having difficulty following this.
Excuse me?
Stephen, will you mute your mic? Excuse us.
I'm
Yeah, just, okay. We'll stop the clock. Okay, continue. Sorry for the interruption.
perfect. Okay. Corinza J. Mock lied, and all of you are feigning ignorance, but that's not going to work with the county sheriff, the county prosecutor, or the federal law enforcement. Once they see a copy of your frivolous response, pretending not to know that they mere possession of these books are felony crimes under both state and federal law. Furthermore, in addition to naming each and every North Clackamas County School Board member in our crime report, a group of us parents intend to provide all of your names to the local press for violating all the statutes I just cited. Finally, we wish to inform all of you that we will intend to file a similar crime report to federal law enforcement agencies reporting all of you and the entire North Clackamas County Administration for felony possession of child pornography in violation of federal law as codified in the United States Code of 18 U.S. Code 2251, Code 2252, Code 2256, Code 2260. We demand that you remove each and every book or ebook from the North Clackamas County School District or expect to be prosecuted for numerous felony crimes in violation of the state and
Please.
federal laws.
Finish. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next is Tara Nelson, Damascus.
Tara Nelson, Damascus. Board service is one of the toughest volunteer roles of all, and he performed with dedication and tenacity. In fact, some national news articles were reported on North Clackamas School District. Newsweek, March 31st, DeSantis joined by Oregon parents in push for school curriculum transparency. Fox News, June 14th, Oregon School District books contain pornographic imagery of sex acts according to Portal. June 15th, Fox News, Oregon mom discusses the explicit content she discovered in her children's public school curriculum. Lars Larson, June 15th, have public schools turned into porn houses. I hope you guys are proud that you have made national news, that you have chosen to turn a blind eye on the pornographic books and materials that are in our North Clackamas School District libraries and classrooms. You prove to be both wise and virtuous. A famous activist once said, "Wisdom is knowing what to do next. Virtue is doing it."
Thank you. I think that's it for community input. Let's move on. Next on the agenda is board reports. Let's go ahead and in this board reports, also if you have any chair, vice chair interest. Let's start online. Director Schradel.
I have no interest in the chair or vice chair. That's the end of my
Okay.
report.
Any other board report that you want to report on, Director Schradel?
I had policy meetings, but it's end of school year. I didn't attend any graduations, which of course made me sad, but was excited to see the pictures.
Thank you. Director McVeigh, if you're still on, is he on? Oh, okay. Director McVeigh?
Vice Chair Bauer, if he doesn't answer, I do have a report for him that I would be happy to.
Okay, go
Read.
ahead.
So Director McVeigh attended NCAA contract celebration at Saban, along with attending Clackamas and Milwaukee graduations. So in terms of whether he is interested in being chair or not, I'm not sure on that.
No
I am
interest?
not sure on that.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Moving on, Director Perez?
Thank you, Vice Chair. No interest in Vice Chair, Chair at this time. And for board report, I was able to attend 2 graduations, and I just want to say that it was to see our students receive their diploma, the expressions on their faces, and just taking in that moment, and then also seeing the parents, just how proud they were. I mean, that's what we're here for. It was good to experience that and see that, and rewarding. And it's hard work on their part and their parents. It's a team effort, but yeah, it was rewarding. So just wanted to share that.
Thank you. Director Way?
Yes, just a couple of things. First, June 10th, I attended the Seth Llewellyn Elementary's end of the summer celebration. And, that day it was like pouring down rain. And so I was leaving my house and I was like, I'm like, I don't know if people are going to be there. And I was wrong. It was packed and kids were eating shaved ice and very happy that it was the end of the school year. And you could just see a lot of just smiling faces just all around. So it was just such a well-attended event. And it was also the playground dedication for Ah Bing, who was a previous foreman I believe back in the early 1800s. So he was a Chinese laborer, and he actually cultivated the Bing cherry that was named after him. And I know that we as a board have heard his story before and the legacy he left behind. And I just thought that the playground celebration was just beautiful. There was a speech by teacher Joni Kawasaki that was very moving. And Joni was also just a product of our district as a student, and she's not an educator. So a really touching story from her about just what that representation meant. And then Principal Mason Brandstetter, I hope I'm saying the last name right, but I just wanted to share his quote that is featured in the North Clackamas article. So he said, "We wanted to celebrate as a community around being back together and also follow through with our commitment to honor Ah Bing and bring forward some of the unrecognized history of Milwaukee." So I thought that was a great quote from him. And then as Director Perez said, it was graduation season. A lot of us were there at different ceremonies, and it was an honor for me attending Nelson High School as well as Putnam High School's graduation. And then last but not least, some of us met with Superintendent James and some of the executive staff around some of the plans around some youth voice committee work. This was an item that we had talked about at the last year's July meeting, and pandemic, and there were other things that obviously had come up last year, so we weren't able to quite get to forming that committee yet, but really excited that this will hopefully happen soon for the next school year. So thank you.
Director Way, any interest? Chair, Vice Chair?
No, not at this time. Thank you.
That leaves you, Director Benaloka, to sign up for both.
Yeah, we'll see how that works. Thank you so much. I wanted to first say that, of course, I attend the RAU collaborative meetings put on by Harry Applebaum at RAU Middle School. We had our last meeting and first in-person meeting at RAU. It was wonderful to see everybody. Just a great community of people that the RAU community has really rallied around the kids in our district. So that was wonderful. Also want to mention that the PCLA steering committee, we have, of course, we've been under the leadership of Stephanie Rose, who's been an excellent leader and has really led the committee as we grow and change and move. And our new chair was elected last night, and that will be Kristen Lunsford. So we're very excited about that. And then I was able to go to 4 graduations. I went to Pace, New Urban, Putnam, and Milwaukee. And one of the things that really touched me and I was reflecting on after the graduations is the graduation is why curriculum nights matter. Graduation is why 9th grade on track matters and 3rd grade reading level matters. But it's also why having staff and people around our kids that look like our kids and that not just celebrate them and see them, but elevate our students. So it was wonderful to be there, but we need to remember to connect the dots because it's about getting everybody to graduation so they're successful, so they feel good about what they've done. Boy, it takes 13 years to do that and to walk across the stage. And it was awesome to shake hands with those kids. They're so proud and the parents are so proud. That's why curriculum nights matter. That's why getting involved in this stuff matters, because we need to get every one of those kids across there. So I was glad to be there. I'm proud to be in this district where it matters whether our kids graduate or not, and that we have a superintendent and administrative team that it matters that we get every kid across that stage. So thank you for the dedication of our staff, for our parents that I'm sure got some gray hairs making sure their kids graduated. And most of all, so proud of those students, hundreds and hundreds of graduates walking across that stage. It was an awesome moment. So even if you don't have a kid that's graduating, there's just something special about an energy at a graduation. So I highly recommend going to them, even if you don't have anybody graduating. Yes, I have interest in vice chair.
Thank you, Director Benaloga. You got to the root of graduation better than I could have ever thought of saying it, and I really appreciate that. I went to more graduations than I ever have because of what she is talking about. It is the point. And there's testing that goes along, and there's relationships, and there's hard work. And every single one I know of our staff has worked so hard this year. It wasn't any easier. But the celebration was there, and it was just fun. It was fun to see the talent of the speakers and the music and the proud parents. So I just stood back and clapped and just enjoyed it. So that was fun. Also went to the RAU partnership with 2 other board members and the youth meeting we had and the Pcla steering. And again, thank you for leadership there. Past and present. I really appreciate you. I feel like the last person standing. I will serve if needed for chair for 1 year. I can commit to that. Okay, let's move on. Now, exciting report from our superintendent, Dr. Shay James.
Yes. So thank you for all of your words tonight. Let the PowerPoint get up there. There we go. Thank you. So tonight I'm going to share a few accomplishments, highlights, and information as we close out the school year with you. I too was very excited and am excited to acknowledge our 2022 graduates. Many of you were there, as you talked about, to celebrate the milestones in our students' lives. And for the most part, the weather held up, and it was a beautiful sight to see the joy that filled the buildings and the park that we were at, as some of you were saying. And as we congratulated each and every student who was present and celebrated them. I also want to take a second and say a thank you to our families, as we know that this is often a family or a community accomplishment as well. And so I think that that's something important to acknowledge. We celebrated graduations at with Adrian C. Nelson, Clackamas, Clackamas Middle College, Clackamas Web Academy, Milwaukee, PACE, our high school for persevering pregnant and parenting teens, and Rex Putnam High School. And each school had amazing speakers that represent all abilities and celebrate the beauty that makes up our schools. And so here you see 2 examples of student speakers who spoke to their graduating class on stage. And that was really a beautiful thing to hear and to see and to listen to their words. Here you see some examples of our proud graduates adorned with their cords, sashes, medals, and so many other ways of recognizing their accomplishments. So it really is special to see the joy in their steps as they're walking across, the movement in their bodies as they walk up the ramp, and the facial expressions. And you see some of those here. I just love looking at the energy and the hands in the air as you see that happening. And here you see a few photos of our first graduation of Adrian C. Nelson High School. So we were grateful to have Justice Nelson here present herself to speak with our seniors and inspire them for success in life. So what a treat for us to listen and have her be present for students and honoring them as well. I really want to thank our staff who have been instrumental in supporting our students to the finish line. That starts at kindergarten. That's not just our high school staff. It takes every single one to get them there, as you have heard folks say. We have had many staff who have supported our seniors, some making it to graduation as a result of that extra last minute support. And some will finish sometime this summer as well. We have a few, but no doubt, and no matter when it happens, we are proud of all of them. Our senior sessions have become what we call senior sessions, have become a vital part for us in North Clackamas and helping some of our students with those last minute efforts and crossing the finish line. And our counselors really do an amazing job in supporting and tracking credits for our seniors as they go. I want to say to any senior that did not finish, we are still here to help you and would love to support in getting you across that stage and finish line. As we go, we still have sessions that can help support folks. And what I want to share is that when we work with our seniors with the senior sessions, we really work with seniors from all of our schools. So that includes Clackamas Web Academy, Clackamas Middle College, our VOP students. This year in our senior sessions, we originally had 96 seniors on the original sign-up list. 42 seniors from that original list actually cleared graduation requirements prior to commencement. So they did actually not need to come to any additional sessions to get any support and help. We had 54 seniors who went to Sabin-Schellenberg to work on obtaining final credits. 41 seniors who attended the Sabin-Schellenberg senior sessions graduated on time and were able to participate in their ceremony. And we have 13 seniors who continue to work at Sabin-Schellenberg towards their graduation credits. 5 students need 3 classes or fewer and will attend summer school. So our seniors have until August to be able to complete their credits and count as this year. So really feeling good about some of the work that has happened here. No matter how they finished, our students finished strong, and we're proud of them. And just want to kind of say, you persevered and you made it. So appreciate that. In addition to our senior sessions, we're gearing up for summer enrichment programs. And so just want to remind families that they can access any of our programs online and sign up. If that does not work for families, you are also welcome to call your schools if you need a different access point, and folks will support and help in getting signed up. Some of the highlights for our summer program is we have partnered with LifeStance to have mental health providers at several locations this summer of our summer school sites. So we are excited that we will be able to support students through this summer with, all the things that have been happening over the last few years. We will have 2 full-time care site programs free up and running. And so I'm looking forward to that. At this time, I'm not sure if there is a waiting list, but we will be monitoring that and seeing what that looks like. We'll have K-8 free enrichment programs as well, and excited to continue our partnership with the Boys and Girls Club for free full-time enrichment offerings this summer. And our secondary students will have access to some pretty fun courses at Sabin-Schellenberg. I was on there looking myself, thinking I want to take these courses. So excited to go check it out and see what they do. And then, of course, we'll have our summer school programs. We are proud that we will be hosting summer food programs at 12 locations across our district. And so more information to come on that, and we'll be moving on that. And lastly, I just want to thank staff for their dedicated work this year. It took many hands to lift to get through the school year, and together we make the work lighter. In addition, I want to congratulate all the employees who have served with us, served our students, our communities, and our families. And we have many who are leaving us for new opportunities, or many who are retiring. Some of them make me sad, make me tear up as I'm looking at a few of you in the audience. But we made it through the year, and phenomenal things happened for our students. And so I just want to say thank you for your service if you've been with us. And so I'll turn it back over to Vice Chair Bauer.
Thank you, Superintendent. Are there any questions, comments from directors? Director Way.
Thank you, Superintendent. I know, let's just all take a deep breath. We're kind of wrapping up this school year, heading into summer. I just have a quick question. So if there are any parents, community members who want to perhaps volunteer or help with this various summer programs. I mean, I'm a big advocate for, please take vacations and take care of yourself. But, if there are people out there in the community who are like, hey, I have some free time, I can help, with a soccer activity, for example. Can they contact lead staff? Would that be appropriate or? Yeah.
Absolutely. What I will check into is see if we can put something on the website to see if we can either put a contact in which folks can say that we're interested in volunteering or that they can sign up. So absolutely would be delighted. And then also just to remind people that we have jobs that are posted. If folks are interested in applying and working for us in the summer or beyond, we'd love to have people taking a look at that. So we will make sure that we follow up on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Director Benaloga?
Yes, thank you, Superintendent, for the presentation.
Hey,
I think Tori. That might be Tori. Thank you. And of course, I just want to echo the thank you to the staff that's staying, the staff that's moving on, and the staff that's really led with your heart this
go
year.
ahead.
I just had a quick question about the seniors that are not done. So you say there's 13 seniors that are continuing to work and 5 of those kids need 3 or fewer. So does that mean 8 of those kids need more than 3?
I do believe that that is what that is saying to me. I have not been the person that wrote the notes has been out. And so I was not able to get clarification on that. But I will get it for sure because I was also wondering that, but that's how I am reading that.
Okay. And I know we're doing everything we can. And I actually think those numbers are pretty amazing to have only 96 kids on the list and then have almost half of those kids actually complete and graduate. But what can we do so that we work on that number even more and we're not scrambling during the summer? Is there something that we can do earlier, sooner?
Yeah.
Or more we can do earlier, sooner?
Absolutely. I think that there's so many things that that help students get to the finish line in a different way. And some of that you've heard this year. We've talked about looking at equitable grading practices. We've talked about what do sorry, they're losing their name. Our engagement specialists are doing with students that are in the building, really looking at our early warning systems and our 9th grade on track. We know that that matters, that if we're making sure that students stay on track beforehand, that there's better opportunity that they will maintain on track through their 4 years. And then also looking at Sabin-Schellenberg, and that's some of the data that we have been reviewing, and how do we make sure that every single one of our students get access and exposure to courses, CTE courses, career technical education, I should say, at Sabin-Schellenberg, as we know that that substantially raises our graduation rates. And so I could go on, MTSS, restorative justice, but these are things that I know that our assistant superintendents are working on with our levels directors and helping to reestablish since we've been through the pandemic, and I would say continue that foundation. So,
All right, thank you.
So Director Benalogi, your question was how many students have a certain number of credits left? Was that your question? Okay.
8 students have, I'm assuming, more than 3 credits.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that. We'll get back then. Let's go online. Director McVeigh, I heard your voice. Do you have a comment or question for the superintendent? Oh, gosh. I don't think we have a good.
Can you hear me? Can
Not
you
very well. You have a
hear me?
long slur.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Sorry.
go ahead.
I'll text it to providing
Oh, my.
access to the care program during summer.
I'm so sorry.
I think he's going to text it to me as when I'm hearing something about the care program. So we'll see when
Okay,
it comes.
okay. Sorry, Tori, about that. So yeah, text it to our superintendent. Director Schradel?
I'm not sure if I can follow that, but hopefully you can hear me well.
Yes.
I thank you for the report, Dr. James. I have no questions.
Okay, Director Perez?
Yeah, just a quick comment. Superintendent, I think you, thank you for the presentation, but I think at one point you said, you made a comment about the staff and everyone that's staying, everyone that's leaving that contributed. And that's one thing that I've noticed, is that like you've created a village, but there's always that saying there's a village, but in this village, everyone has showed up. And it's a reflection of that saying, you know, one person can't do everything, but everyone can do something. And you have created that village because everyone here that I see has brought their gift for the kids. So
So anything further? Did you receive a comment from Dr. McVeigh?
Yes, he said he wanted to say thank you for the access to the care program during the summer. So appreciating the free full-time care. So thank
Okay.
you.
Great. I just wanted to say again, thank you to the fact that we don't give up on kids and we have so many choices of ways they can learn and in high school especially. But those relationships, family engagement, as you said, are so important. So thank you. And again, we're really going to miss some of the staff that are retiring and taking a lot of expertise with them, but I know you've recruited and done the best we can, and we will move on. So thank you. Next on the agenda is 2022-23 organizational resolution for the required designations, authorizations, and appointments. This is an action item. Presenter is our budget director, Gail Jacobson. Welcome.
Welcome, good evening. So in front of you, you have an annual agenda item, which is required to make our needed designations, authorizations, and appointments for the Chief Administrative Officer, District Clerk, our Budget Officer, Deputy Clerk, Custodian of Funds, and established depositories for school funds, authority to invest funds, our auditors, to designate official publications, contract signers, and our legal counsel. Are there any questions?
Hearing no questions, this is an action item. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation, recommend the approval of the designations, authorizations, and appointments as identified in items A through I on the attached organizational resolution for the required designations, authorizations, and appointments for fiscal year 2022 to 2023.
Second.
Okay, Director Way has moved. Director Benaloga has seconded. Let's go ahead and have a roll call. Director Perez,
aye.
Director Way,
Aye.
Director Benaloga,
Aye.
Director Schradel,
Aye.
Director McVeigh. Can you make a noise? Yay. I guess we'll just go on. And myself is an aye.
McVeigh, aye.
Oh, great. You
Aye.
came through loud and clear. Thank you so much. Great.
McVeigh's aye.
Okay. Thank you, Director McVeigh. We heard you. That's great.
But he only gets one eye.
Sorry. Yes.
Not I squared, just I. Okay, so that was budget item 3. At this time, budget item 4 is, at this time, I open this hearing up for a supplemental budget hearing. Guess I could hit it harder. Any comments from the community? Hearing none, I will close really hard. supplemental budget hearing. And we'll move on to item 5, supplemental budget appropriation transfer for fiscal year 2021-22, another action item, and our budget director, Galen Jacobson.
So in front of you, you have the appropriations transfer supplemental budget for our current school year. We had a couple of things that changed from the time of the original budget adoption a little over a year ago. And one of those that has affected each of the funds that are listed here is a GASB adjustment. So Governmental Accounting Standards Board, which oversees financial reporting for government entities, has required some changes in how we report leases. And so debt service is now a required, appropriation level. And so you will see that debt service now shows up in each of the funds that are listed. That is to cover our lease expenditures that normally would just be covered under an object, not under a function, which is an appropriation level. So that's the first change. The second change is that we needed to move some appropriation authority from instruction to support services to cover unexpected expenditures in support services in excess of what we had appropriated for the year. And then the third one is to appropriate in the general fund a transfer out and appropriate into a special revenue fund a transfer in the amount of $2 million to set up our benefit reserve fund. So these were all required actions to get our appropriation levels in our budget in compliance with what we are expected to end the year at. Are there any other questions on this?
Any questions? So benefits was part of it. And then what was the, can you just say it in layman's terms, kind of?
So, in layman's terms, the financial reporting standards have changed, and we need to appropriate funds in a different function than where they were appropriated before. The same thing is happening financially across the board. We're paying our leases, but for financial statement purposes, we have to show it in a different place.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So this is another action item. And do I have a, motion?
I move approval of the resolution for the supplemental budget and appropriations transfer as presented below to meet budgeting requirements.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Director Benaloga has moved. Director Way has seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, let's move forward then with roll call. Director Perez,
Aye.
Director Way,
Aye.
Director Benaloga,
Aye.
Director Schradel,
Aye.
Director McVeigh.
Aye.
It's very good. Has a real ring to it. And I am
Aye.
also, I'm also an aye. Not as fancy as yours, though. Okay, moving
Can you
on.
hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that.
Okay.
Reception's terrible.
Okay. Moving on to agenda item 6, North Clackamas Education Foundation contract renewal. This is also an action item. Presenter is our superintendent, Shay James.
Yes, and before I head there really quickly, I just wanted to say we have been in very capable hands with Galen Jacobson and as she's retiring. But I also wanted to welcome and introduce you to our new incoming Executive Director of Finance and Business Services, Matt McCara. If you can kind of give a wave so they know who you are. And most of them know, so very excited, and we will continue to be in capable hands. So welcome.
Thank you, Superintendent. I meant to say something about that. Thank you for your hard work. I want to recognize that. And also our Human Resource Director too, sitting in the audience, Mark Mosier. Thank you for your years of service. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
So tonight, I am seeking approval for a 5-year contract between the North Clackamas School District and the North Clackamas Education Foundation for a total of $600,000 with a return investment of $1.3 million.
Okay, any questions?
I have questions, I guess, or statements.
Okay, Director Schradel.
So I'll just start from the presentation from the last board meeting. I found it confusing, the way it was presented. It caused me to have lots of questions. It let me hear that a nonprofit has increased its reserves from 200 to 600,000 in 5 years. Things I also heard were, we do what you tell us to do. Now that's a summary, but it brings a caution to me that maybe they're not a full arm's length away, that they could be perceived as us. I actually think this would be better served in a work session, because a lot of my questions had to do with what is the increased money going to be used for? I've heard staff, I've heard other things. But, yeah, it sounds good, 600,000 out, 1.3 in. But the presentation, I can't get past the presentation that happened last board meeting, which was, well, give us the money or we're going to close shop. That's highly concerning to hear somebody make a statement of insolvency in a public meeting. And so I do think this is not warranted to be able to do this is the end of a 5-year contract. Before the 5 years, we were always 1-year contracts. It wasn't even coming before the board. This is the taxpayers' money. And I think having a work session allows us to have the ability to work closer and define what is the working relationship. And that's my 2.5 cents.
Okay, any other comments? Director Way?
Hello. Okay. I just have a question. So in terms of timing, and we just heard Director Schradel offer a possible work session, but I'm just looking at the superintendent in terms of timing. We do need to act on this rather quickly. Is that correct?
Yeah, we would need to either do, some kind of stopgap mitigation as the contract that we currently have is running out to get us through until we could do that, or yes, the contract is running out. So we need to do something in terms of maintaining the relationship.
Director Way, may I add?
Director Schrader, let's see if anyone else has comments and then we can come back to you. Any other comments? Director McVeigh, you are online. I don't know if we can hear you.
Oh, I can ask.
Okay, while we're waiting for Director McVeigh, Director Perez?
Question, thank you, Vice Chair. Question for Superintendent, Dr. James. So when you say stopgap, I mean, what's that consist of, or what's that look like? Is that easy to do? I mean, what's based on what Director Schradel and Director Wade just presented, and you mentioned this, a stopgap to do a work section. The idea of working together, what Director Schradel just said, that appeals to me, especially when it comes to our children. So.
Yeah, I think it would depend on what stipulations and where you direct me to go in terms of how we mitigate until we can get, until we could get a final contract. I will say North Clackamas Education Foundation has been amazing partners to us, and we don't want to lose them, nor do we want to do anything to cause a rift in the relationship. And so I would want to make sure that we had something in place that allows us to continue a strong relationship and allows us to continue to move forward. So that would depend on what you directed me to do.
Thank you, Superintendent.
Director McVeigh, are you able to get on yet?
Yeah,
Oh, gosh.
I'm back. I keep losing signal, so
It's,
I'm.
it's really hard to hear. Director McVeigh, do you want to text your message to the superintendent? I am so sorry. I know you are out of town.
I keep losing the signal.
Do you want to go ahead and text your,
Can you hear me?
well, it's very, very hard to hear you. Yeah, there's a long delay. Every time you speak, the word is slurred. Could he call in to, well, I don't know, or just text your comments? Okay, let's see if any of the other directors, Director Benaloga, do you have any comments? I have a comment, but I'll wait till last.
Just to say that the foundation has really done some wonderful work in the district, and I appreciate all of this, all of the programs that they have supported. And I will support whichever direction the superintendent feels we should go in.
Thank you, Director Benaloga. While they're trying to get comments from Director McVeigh, I will just say I support the superintendent's recommendation because I really feel we need this partnership. Our staff students have received tremendous support from the foundation for years, and the work of the volunteers and staff, they have worked hard. So many of these people work in so many other ways through PTAs, levies, bonds. Retired teachers have been on part of this. They've given their time and their treasure. I think we can all do better. I agree. We can work towards being self-sustaining. As I said, I was on that years ago on that foundation, and that was our dream. That's what we wanted to work for. Our success lies in our ability to work together. That was a statement that I saw many times, and further develop our close working relationship. I look forward to increased marketing efforts and return on our investment. So I would support the recommendation. Did anyone hear from Director McVeigh?
Not yet. We're working on it. So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, this is an action item. I'm going to move ahead and say, is there a motion?
Motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation, approval of a 5-year contract between the North Clackamas School District and the North Clackamas Education Foundation.
Benaloga, second.
So there's been a motion by Director Way, a second by Director Benaloga. Any just further discussion?
Oh,
Director Schradel, you want to go ahead, and then Director Way.
Yeah. Director Way, go ahead.
all right. Yes, I'll just keep it short. Again, I really appreciate the partnership between the foundation and our district. I've just seen them work around the clock, especially with the pandemic, and just increasing so much of their services to our kids. And I especially really enjoy all of the scholarships that they give out to our students. And I, really want that work to continue. I also feel like after that last board meeting, there were some questions that I believe staff went back, and there was a active exchange between, getting all the numbers and getting all the financial statements together. And so I will be a yes vote tonight on this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Director Schradel, go ahead.
Well, I'm going to speak in opposition of the 5-year. We don't control what presentations come before this board. But when a presentation comes before us that's supposed to be contractually obligated, and the first slide says this is their goal, it's not their goal. It's a contractually obligated agreement. Now, a lot of us have worked with people that are on the foundation, or many of you been on the foundation. Just because we're familiar with the foundation doesn't mean that we're not supposed to be fiduciary responsible, because we're talking about $600,000 of taxpayer money going to a foundation that then returns back to us. So there is a risk that we put money out and something happens to the foundation and it doesn't come back. So we've fulfilled our agreement, and they left us with a bunch of questions. And to come back and say, oh, 5 years, oh, let's just hope they do better. The only time we have time to improve the relationship is through the contract process. And the contract is very sloppy, and it shouldn't be the contract that moves forward. So I would say, do a motion to amend to make it 1 year, and that would give them time to get the questions answered in a work session, and they're not harmed. But willy-nilly in a contract is not okay with $600,000.
Thank you, Director Schradel. We do have a motion on the floor. Any other discussion?
Actually, I did a motion to amend the motion, so I don't know if there's a second or not.
Okay, so you did a motion right now to amend this, and so would you repeat what your motion is?
I just did a motion to amend that 5 years to 1 year to allow us to have time to do a work session and define our relationship better.
Okay, so now there's a motion on the floor to amend the contract from a 5-year to a 1 year. Is there a second?
Second.
Dr. Perez. So motion by Director Schradel, second by Director Perez. Any other discussion before we vote on the amendment?
It would only be the discussion on the motion to change from 5 to 1. Is that correct, Chair?
I wasn't aware of that. There was someone that wanted to comment on the amendment.
Yes, it would only be about the amendment to 5.
Yeah, this is on the amendment.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Director Perez, did you have a comment on the amendment?
Yeah,
You had your hand up.
I do have a comment. I trying to find the words, but the work that the foundation has done and recommendation, I hear all that. And, at the end of the day, for me, as we all do, I'm here for the children, as we all are, and the foundation for the children. And I'm really struggling. At the last meeting in the presentation, it was said that the operation would be shut down. And if we're all here for the children, because the children out here around us in our district, I'm not sure that they are concerned about contracts and funding and another 50,000. They just want to know that they're cared for and that they're loved and respected and accepted and supported. That's what we're all here for. So I'm having a hard time getting over that comment that we would shut this down. So that's why I'm in for the amendment in 1 year and to work a little bit together over this coming year.
Any further comments on the amendment? Oh, Director Benalogi, you're sitting right by me. I didn't see you.
Yes, I have a question. What's the ripple effect of only doing the contract for 1 year? What's the consequences?
I don't have a full answer for that. I mean, I would need to confer with NCE, with the foundation, I think, to see how that impacts how they are able to operationalize and what that looks like, how that comes back to us and what that looks like. So I think that would have to be further discussion around that.
Any other questions? Have we heard from Director McVeigh? Nothing. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and vote on the amendment. Director Perez,
Aye.
Director Way,
No.
Director Schradel,
Aye.
Director Benaloga,
No.
Director McVeigh. Could we get a vote from you on an amendment? Myself is a no. We need one more vote. Well, it needs, no, okay, it needs 4 to pass an aye. So there's not 4. So I think we can move to the motion, back to the motion.
That is correct.
Well, the amendment hasn't passed because it needs 4 votes to pass, right?
The amendment did not pass. It's back to the original motion.
Okay, 3 if there's only 5 of us. Okay, because we can't consider, I guess, Director McVeigh. Okay, so let's go back to the original motion that was made by yeah, Director Way, and was that second by Director Benaloga? I think you did. Yeah, I think it, yeah. So that motion remains on the floor. So any discussion, further discussion, we've had a lot on the first. Can we go ahead and just vote on that?
We're back to discussion of the main motion.
Yeah, the main motion. We've discussed it already, but further discussion?
I would say, if for some reason this doesn't pass, I'm available for ad hoc meetings between now and the next meeting to work out the contract so that it at least reflects lesson learned. So I don't want people to think doom and gloom. This is an artificially rushed item. They have 600,000 in reserves. We always can do retroactive. They're talking about, $125,000 that we typically pay out in one lump sum, and then it returns to us. So if we rush this, it's just a bad form of.
I agree.
Okay, thank you, Director Schradel. Are you done? Anyone else? Okay, let's take a vote on the main motion, which was, let's remind ourselves, which was the 5-year contract.
Vice Chair,
Yes.
question. So on the amendment, where are we at with, just to clarify, so I'm a little bit confused on that.
The original amendment was to accept the superintendent's. Let's see, I lost it on my computer. Director Benaloga, do you have it on yours?
I think he's asking about the amendment.
The amendment, oh, you're
Correct.
asking about the amendment?
Yes.
Okay, it needed at least 3 votes to pass and it didn't. So now we're back to the main motion, which we already had a main motion. It was seconded. So we had some discussion again on the main motion. So we're going back to vote on the main motion.
Motion. Okay. Thank you,
Okay,
Vice Chair.
Yeah, thank you. Which
Chair, I
was
have a point of order.
Director Schradel.
I just want to recognize the 3 of the 6 is not a 51%. It requires 4 yeses to pass,
Mhm.
because we're always a board of 7. If 6 are attending, it's still 4 to have them,
Okay.
not 3.
Currently, Tori is not at the meeting, so we are at 5.
And I'm just going by ORS.
Did you hear,
Yeah,
did you
yeah.
hear the superintendent, director?
Yeah, I hear the superintendent. I just want to say, the way it works is when a meeting starts, if board members are present, a board member may not be excused for the purpose of not having a quorum nor reducing the number of votes required for passing affirmative vote. 4 is required.
Superintendent?
I would suggest we recess and we can go.
Okay, let's,
we can
yeah,
go
let's
do
recess
some
and
research there.
we'll be back in 10 minutes. Is that okay? So that would be 7:45.
Kathy, I'll be stepping out for two minutes, if you can hear me. Mosier.
Okay, we are back in session at 8 o'clock. Sorry, it was a little bit longer than we thought, but I think we have some information from our superintendent. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. So while we were recessed, we were able to receive clarity from legal on the question regarding majority for voting and our understanding of the quorum.
Back in session at 8 o'clock. Sorry.
And our understanding of the quorum. So 4 affirmative votes are required to exercise the board's authority on this motion. I would like to suggest as a path forward, this is significant enough of a discussion and an issue at the last board meeting and tonight that I would like to withdraw my resolution and recommendation that the board take action tonight. And I'll come back to the next board meeting on July 7th with next steps.
Okay, any comments from the board?
We do have a motion on the floor, so just because it's retracted does not mean the motion is still active.
So we still should vote.
But I do want to be, I never want to be a hinder. There can be a motion to amend.
So I think the question about availability of Director McVeigh and whether he's been available or not, that it's also important that all board members that have been a part of the discussion be able to
Okay,
have their comments heard as well.
well, I know that we are able to contact him by phone and you can hold his phone up to the speaker. Okay, that's true. Okay, so to deal with the
So Vice Chair Bauer, I am recommending to withdraw.
Hello?
And is going to withdraw her motion for this time and wait for another meeting.
So I am recommending that we withdraw the resolution and recommendation that the board take action tonight. But another option is that it could be tabled until July 7th. So.
Chair.
Okay, go ahead, Director Schradel. I'm not sure how to deal with the motion.
I believe we're all heading in the same path. We have different definitions. So there is no there's never been a superintendent item put forward to be removed by the superintendent. A motion was made by a board member and seconded by a board member. So that means the motion is active. To be helpful, I would like to offer an amendment to a motion. My amendment, I move that we table this motion for this evening and wait for further feedback from the superintendent at the next board meeting.
Okay, so there's an amendment to the motion that we had, and this is to table it for until the next motion by Director Schradel.
Second.
And there's a second by Director Perez. Let's take a vote. Director Perez,
Aye.
Director Way,
Aye.
Director Benaloga,
Aye.
Director Schradel,
Aye.
Director McVeigh. Said no. And myself, aye. Okay, so the amendment passes that we will deal with it at the next meeting. Now, I'm still not sure about the motion on the table.
You've tabled it until July 7th.
Okay, that's what the amendment said, to table that. Okay. Okay, are we ready to move on?
Ready.
That was agenda item 6. Agenda item 7, Youth Truth Purchase Contract Award, is also an action item. Cindy Dutchin, Assistant Superintendent of Operations, welcome to the table, finally.
Thank you. I have to get my motions in order here. I am seeking your approval this evening on a renewal of a 3-year contract. Youth Truth is an organization in which we survey and engage our staff, our parents, and our students. It's been useful to provide information around our strategic plan, as an example, school improvement plans, various grants, etc. This is a 3-year contract with Youth Truth for a total cost of $245,775.
Any questions? This is an action item. Do I have a motion?
Move approval.
Director Schradel, move approval of the, you state the whole thing, Director Schradel? For the record.
I will as soon as my screen will flip over.
If you can't find it, I could repeat it for you. It's,
Sheriff, you could help my computer.
Yeah. okay, it's to approve awarding 3-year contract to Youth Truth for the total cost of $245,775. So the motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Benaloga, second. Okay, any discussion? Okay, let's take a roll call vote. It's money. Director Schradel,
Aye.
Director McVeigh, or, okay. Director Benaloga,
Aye.
Director Way,
Aye.
Director Perez,
Aye.
and myself as an aye. Okay, we're getting there. The next and last agenda item, advanced authorization to procure emergency preparedness supplies. This is an action item we discussed at the last meeting. And our Assistant Superintendent of Operations, Cindy Dutchin. Thank you.
We discussed last meeting an adjacent purchase to this one. That was the sheds, and this is the innards, the stuff that's going to go in it. We are seeking approval for pre-authorization because we are currently in the process of procuring all of the different items and don't have a total amount yet. But these are the emergency preparedness supplies. All of the funds would be the proceeds of the 2016 bond funds. We know it's going to extend past the $150,000 limit that allows staff to purchase without board approval, but we're seeking your approval tonight to make this purchase up to not to exceed $700,000 in total.
Thank you. Any questions for Assistant Superintendent Dutchin? We had discussion last week. Hearing none, is there a motion? Director Way?
Motion to approve the advanced authorization for procurement of emergency supplies exceeding an aggregate value of $150,000 and not to exceed $700,000 in total.
Thank you, Director Perez.
Second.
Thank you, Director Way. So the motion has been moved by Director Perez and seconded by Director Way. Any other discussion? Let's do a roll call vote. Director Schradel,
Aye.
Director Benaloga,
Aye.
Director Way,
Aye.
Director Perez,
Aye.
and myself is an aye. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your understanding and kindness, and that will go a long ways. And we'll get through this, but thank you. Have a good evening. Good night. Meeting adjourned at 8:09.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Night.